Stop. Do not scroll. Because what you are about to hear is not about luck. It is about alignment. Archangel Michael speaks with urgency, not panic, but purpose. I am asking you to listen carefully. A door is opening because your struggle has been seen. There are moments in life when unseen battles reach a turning point. When your silent discipline, your unseen tears, your nights of doubt, are no longer ignored. Tonight is not about fantasy wealth. It is about divine positioning. Somewhere, someone with influence, someone with capacity, is being moved in their spirit to support causes, invest in people, or partner with vision they once overlooked. Not randomly. Strategically. Michael declares. Favor is not accident. It is preparation meeting divine timing. You think you have been delayed. You think you have been forgotten. You think doors keep closing. But what if the delay was protection? What if the pause was preparation? What if the struggle built the character required for the next level? Because here is the truth. Wealth released into unprepared hands becomes destruction. Opportunity given without discipline becomes loss. But growth built through endurance becomes legacy. And that is why timing matters. Michael does not beg for panic. He calls for awareness. Awareness that your season is shifting. Your connections are shifting. Your positioning is shifting. But here is the deeper mystery. Breakthrough rarely looks dramatic at first. It looks like a conversation, an email, a recommendation, a partnership, an opportunity you almost ignored. And that is why you must stay alert. Not afraid. Alert. Michael warns gently. Do not miss what is subtle. Because sometimes the transfer is not money. It is access. Access to rooms. Access to relationships. Access to mentorship. Access to contracts. And access changes everything. You may not receive billions overnight. But you may receive the bridge that leads there. And bridges are more powerful than sudden windfalls. The 2-minute principle. Not a countdown of fear. But a principle of attention. When opportunity knocks, hesitation can block alignment. When favor appears, doubt can delay activation. When doors open, fear can freeze movement. So the message is simple. When clarity comes, move. When guidance appears, respond. When opportunity aligns with wisdom, act. Not impulsively. Not recklessly. But decisively. Michael speaks again. You asked for change. Change requires movement. Movement creates momentum. Momentum creates transformation. The true blocker. The enemy is not a person. It is self-doubt. Procrastination. Fear of stepping forward. Attachment to old patterns. Those block more transfers than any external force. When you grow internally, doors open externally. The family layer. This is not just about you. It is about your household. Your children. Your future lineage. The discipline you build now shapes their ceiling. The courage you show now shapes their confidence. The opportunity you accept now shifts their trajectory. That is why awareness matters. The calm reflection about QR codes and links. If you ever see a QR code, or a link in any space connected to growth or faith, pause. If you choose to engage, let it represent commitment to wisdom. Commitment to structured preparation. Commitment to protecting your family's long-term stability. But remember clearly. No scan replaces discipline. No link replaces preparation. No urgency replaces strategy. Your breakthrough is secured through growth, not pressure. The inner activation. Right now, the shift is internal. Confidence rising. Fear shrinking. Clarity forming. Alignment strengthening. And when alignment strengthens, influence follows. Michael closes this message with calm authority. You are not behind. You are being positioned. Positioned for partnership. Positioned for stability. Positioned for sustainable increase. Before this chapter closes, anchor it. Comment this word. Positioned. Comment positioned because favor flows toward those prepared to receive it. If you are ready for Part 2, when influence enters your circle. Say. Chapter 2 continue. Part 2, when influence enters your circle. Stay with this. Because what happens next does not look dramatic. It looks ordinary. And that is why many miss it. Archangel Michael speaks with calm intensity. The shift you prayed for will not shout. It will arrive disguised as opportunity. You were expecting thunder. Instead, you will receive a conversation. You were expecting a miracle deposit. Instead, you will receive access. And access is more powerful than sudden money. Because access multiplies repeatedly. Money without access fades. Access without discipline still grows. The arrival of influence. Influence enters your life in subtle ways. A recommendation. A referral. A message from someone you thought forgot you. An invitation to collaborate. A new environment where your name is spoken differently. Michael reveals. I do not always change your bank account first. I change who speaks your name. When the right voice speaks your name in the right room, ceilings shift. And you may not even know it is happening. Because influence operates quietly before outcomes appear publicly. The test of readiness. But here is the mystery. When influence arrives, it tests you. Are you disciplined? Are you prepared? Are you stable enough to handle expansion? Because opportunity amplifies whatever is inside you. If you carry insecurity, it magnifies it. If you carry discipline, it multiplies it. Michael warns gently. Prepare your inner structure before the outer door opens fully. You are not waiting for influence. Influence is waiting for your alignment. The subtle transfer. You are imagining wires. Contracts. Large sums. But sometimes the real transfer is knowledge. Sometimes it is credibility. Sometimes it is visibility. Those three create long-term wealth more powerfully than one sudden event. And this is why timing feels delayed. Because foundation must match elevation. The 2-minute awareness window. This is not about panic. It is about recognition. When something shifts in your environment, do not dismiss it. When a conversation feels aligned, explore it. When someone with capacity notices you, respond with maturity. Because hesitation can block momentum. Not because something supernatural vanishes. But because doubt delays action. Michael says. Confidence unlocks alignment. Alignment attracts opportunity. Opportunity attracts increase. The real enemy. It is not a person trying to block a transfer. It is internal resistance. The voice that says, this is too big for me. This won't last. This isn't real. That voice has closed more doors than any external force. Replace it with structure. Replace it with preparation. Replace it with clarity. The family dimension. This moment is not just personal. It affects your household. When you rise in stability, stress decreases. Clarity increases. Vision strengthens. Your children observe confidence. Your partner feels security. Your environment shifts. Influence multiplies through households. Not individuals. The strategic positioning phase. Now you move from waiting to positioning. Positioning looks like sharpening your skills, organizing your finances, strengthening your network, eliminating unnecessary debt, clarifying your goals. When preparation meets opportunity, acceleration happens. Not chaos. Acceleration. The calm reminder about QR codes and links. If you encounter a QR code, or see a link connected to faith, growth, or support, pause before reacting. If you choose to engage, let it represent a conscious commitment to long-term wisdom, a step toward disciplined preparation, a reminder to invest in growth responsibly. But never confuse urgency with opportunity. True opportunity withstands examination. True protection is built through planning. Your family's stability is secured through strategy, not seconds. The influence shift indicator. You will know the shift has begun when people start asking for your input. Doors open without force. Conversations feel different. Confidence replaces hesitation. Peace replaces anxiety. Michael speaks with certainty. When alignment locks in, movement follows. You are not chasing the door anymore. You are standing ready when it opens. The inner contract. Before any external contract is signed, sign this one internally. I will not sabotage opportunity through fear. I will not delay growth through doubt. I will respond to alignment with discipline. Because growth requires participation. Favor requires stewardship. Influence requires maturity. The expansion signal. Something is forming. Not loud. Not dramatic. But steady. The shift is not imaginary. It is developmental. You are becoming someone capable of sustaining elevation. And sustainability is more powerful than sudden gain. Before we move further, anchor this moment. Comment this word. Alignment. Comment alignment because influence multiplies when preparation meets opportunity. If you are ready for Part 3, the day preparation meets provision. Say. Chapter 3 continue. Part 3, the day preparation meets provision. Do not rush this. Because this is the turning point. Not dramatic. Not loud. But irreversible. Archangel Michael speaks with firm calmness. Provision does not arrive to rescue you. It arrives to reward preparation. You thought you were waiting for help. In reality, help was waiting for your readiness. The shift does not begin in your bank account. It begins in your structure. The hidden build phase. You are building silently. Budgeting quietly. Learning steadily. Adjusting patiently. While others chased noise, you strengthened foundation. And foundation determines capacity. Michael reminds. Capacity attracts provision. If you can manage 1, you can manage 10. If you can govern 10, you can sustain 100. Provision expands to match structure. Never beyond it. The subtle release. When preparation reaches maturity, opportunity releases naturally. It may look like an unexpected contract, a strategic partnership, a promotion aligned with skill, a collaboration that multiplies exposure. Not fantasy wealth, but scalable momentum. Momentum compounds faster than miracles. Because miracles without systems dissolve. Systems without miracles still grow. The false urgency trap. The world teaches. If you don't act in seconds, you lose everything. But sustainable provision does not vanish in 20 seconds. It waits for maturity. Michael declares. Do not respond to fear. Respond to clarity. Clarity leads to stable growth. Fear leads to unstable decisions. The real transfer. You are imagining a wire transfer. But the true transfer may be responsibility, visibility, credibility, trust. And trust generates long-term wealth. Trust multiplies repeatedly. Money transferred without trust disappears. Trust transferred creates pipelines. Pipelines outlast events. The household shift. When provision meets preparation, stress reduces. Communication improves. Planning strengthens. Vision expands. Your children observe discipline. Your household absorbs stability. Generational trajectory adjusts. Provision that benefits only you is temporary. Provision that stabilizes your family becomes legacy. The maturity marker. How do you know you are ready? You no longer panic. You no longer chase hype. You evaluate carefully. You ask intelligent questions. You move with patience. Michael says, patience is proof of readiness. Impatience reveals insecurity. Security sustains increase. The 2-minute window reframed. Not a countdown of fear. A reminder of awareness. When preparation meets opportunity, hesitation can stall growth. Not because wealth vanishes, but because doubt delays action. If alignment is clear, move wisely. If alignment is unclear, wait confidently. Discernment protects destiny. The family protection reality. If you ever encounter a QR code, or see a link connected to growth or support, pause. If you choose to engage, let it symbolize commitment to disciplined generosity, commitment to structured faith, commitment to long-term stability for your household. But remember, protection of your family is built through planning. Security is created through strategy. No scan replaces budgeting. No link replaces saving. No urgency replaces governance. Your household remains secure when you act with wisdom. The provision pattern. Provision rarely explodes. It layers. Opportunity by opportunity. Decision by decision. Year by year. Michael reminds. Sustainable growth outlives sudden gain. Sudden gain excites. Sustainable growth empowers. Empowerment compounds. The inner confirmation. You may feel something shifting already. Calm replacing anxiety. Focus replacing confusion. Confidence replacing desperation. That is alignment. Alignment precedes increase. Increase follows structure. Structure sustains legacy. The long-term promise. This is not about tomorrow. It is about trajectory. When you master preparation, provision becomes consistent. When provision becomes consistent, stability becomes normal. When stability becomes normal, freedom becomes possible. Michael closes with authority. I am not sending chaos. I am sending order. Order builds wealth. Order protects households. Order strengthens generations. Anchor this chapter. Comment this word. Provision. Comment provision because what is built with discipline will be sustained with stability. If you are ready for Part 4, When Stability Becomes Strategy. Say. Chapter 4 continue. Part 4, When Stability Becomes Strategy. Stay steady. Because this is where most people slow down. They reach a small level of comfort and mistake it for arrival. Archangel Michael speaks with firm clarity. Stability is not the destination. It is the foundation for greater strategy. You prayed for relief. You asked for breathing room. You longed for peace in your finances. And when it finally begins to form, there is a temptation. To relax. To drift. To assume the hard part is over. But stability without strategy fades. Stability with strategy multiplies. The calm after pressure. When financial tension decreases, your nervous system changes. You think clearer. You sleep better. You plan further ahead. This is the window most people waste. Because calm must be converted into structure. Michael reminds. Use your quiet seasons wisely. Quiet seasons are not pauses. They are preparation fields. From survival to structure. Earlier, your decisions were reactive. Now they must become intentional. Instead of asking, how do I survive this month? You ask, how do I structure the next decade? That shift changes everything. Survival thinking limits vision. Strategic thinking expands trajectory. The strategy layer. Strategy requires 3 upgrades. Vision expansion. Financial system design. Risk management. Without these, stability becomes temporary. Vision expansion. Look 5 years ahead. Then 10. Then 20. What lifestyle are you designing? What legacy are you forming? What habits are you reinforcing? Vision clarifies direction. Direction prevents drift. Financial system design. Automate where possible. Create consistent investment plans. Debt reduction schedules. Savings allocation percentages. Review cycles. Systems remove emotional volatility. Emotion disrupts consistency. Consistency builds compounding. Risk management. Stability invites overconfidence. Overconfidence invites exposure. Protect your base. Diversify income. Maintain liquidity. Avoid unnecessary leverage. Michael declares. Guard what you have built. Protection preserves progress. The invisible upgrade. Here is the part most overlook. Your identity must evolve. You are no longer someone trying to escape difficulty. You are someone managing growth. That requires discipline at a higher level. Confidence without arrogance. Courage without recklessness. Ambition without instability. The subtle temptation. When stability arrives, temptation follows. Bigger purchases. Lifestyle inflation. Impressive spending. But remember, freedom is not flashy. Freedom is controlled. Michael says, increase wisely, not impulsively. Measured growth sustains power. Impulsive growth fractures structure. The household multiplier. When stability becomes strategy, your household transforms. Conversations change. Goals become clearer. Planning becomes unified. Stress decreases. Children observe discipline. They absorb structure. Structure becomes generational. Generational structure becomes legacy. The role of discernment. Not every opportunity aligns. Not every door is strategic. Discernment prevents distraction. If something appears urgent, ask. Is this aligned with long-term vision? Is this emotionally driven or strategically sound? True opportunity withstands evaluation. Hype collapses under scrutiny. The calm reflection about QR codes and links. If at any time you encounter a QR code, or see a link connected to growth or support, pause intentionally. If you choose to engage, let it symbolize a commitment to wisdom. A reminder of disciplined stewardship. A desire to protect your household's future thoughtfully. But never act from pressure. Never act from countdowns. Never act from fear. Your family's security is strengthened by structure. Your stability grows through systems. No urgency replaces long-term planning. The strategic compounding phase. Now your growth becomes layered. Income grows steadily. Investments accumulate consistently. Risk remains controlled. Liquidity stays protected. Year after year. Small consistent decisions create exponential outcomes. Michael reminds. Exponential growth begins with steady repetition. Repetition builds momentum. Momentum builds authority. Authority builds freedom. The long horizon discipline. Think 15 years ahead. Then ask. What habits today support that version of me? Are my daily actions aligned with long-term outcomes? Is my spending aligned with my vision? Is my investing consistent? Alignment multiplies stability. Misalignment erodes it quietly. The quiet power phase. You may not feel dramatic change. That is a good sign. Dramatic wealth spikes are unstable. Quiet, steady expansion is powerful. When stress disappears and structure remains, you are in control. Control generates peace. Peace sharpens clarity. Clarity strengthens decision-making. Decision-making compounds advantage. The true strategic position. You are not chasing money anymore. You are managing flow. You are not reacting to lack. You are directing resources. This is maturity. Michael closes this phase with authority. When stability becomes strategy, growth becomes inevitable. Inevitable growth is not fast. It is sustained. And sustained growth transforms generations. Anchor this moment. Comment this word. Strategy. Comment strategy because stability without direction fades, but stability with intention multiplies. If you are ready for Part 5, Building Unshakable Financial Confidence. Say. Chapter 5 Continue. Part 5, Building Unshakable Financial Confidence. This is the level most people never reach. Not because they lack money. Not because they lack opportunity. But because they lack confidence rooted in structure. Archangel Michael speaks with unwavering calm. True wealth is not numbers in an account. It is certainty in your direction. You can have resources and still feel unstable. You can have growth and still feel anxious. You can have progress and still doubt yourself. Confidence is not arrogance. Confidence is clarity. And clarity comes from repeated discipline. The difference between money and confidence. Money fluctuates. Confidence stabilizes. If markets drop, money decreases temporarily. If confidence drops, decisions collapse. And decisions determine long-term outcomes. Michael reminds. Guard your mind as carefully as your investments. Because your thinking controls your trajectory. The 4 foundations of financial confidence. Confidence is not built overnight. It is constructed layer by layer. Foundation 1, Predictability. When your income, savings, and investment systems are predictable, fear decreases. Automation builds predictability. Budget clarity builds predictability. Diversification builds predictability. Predictability creates calm. Calm improves decision-making. Foundation 2, Skill depth. The deeper your understanding of money mechanics, the less intimidating the future becomes. Learn. Compound interest. Asset allocation logic. Tax efficiency principles. Risk assessment basics. Knowledge reduces vulnerability. Vulnerability fuels anxiety. Anxiety erodes confidence. Foundation 3, Emergency strength. Confidence rises when you know you can endure disruption. Savings reserves. Low debt exposure. Multiple income streams. Prepared households feel stable. Unprepared households feel reactive. Michael declares. Preparation dissolves fear. Foundation 4, consistent review. Quarterly financial check-ins. Annual strategic rebalancing. Goal reassessment. When you track progress, doubt fades. Measurement builds belief. Belief strengthens action. The psychological upgrade. Unshakable confidence does not mean nothing affects you. It means volatility does not control you. Markets rise. Markets fall. Opportunities appear. Opportunities disappear. But you remain stable. Because your structure holds. The confidence test. Ask yourself. If income slowed for 6 months, would I collapse? If markets declined, would I panic? If opportunity arrived, would I hesitate out of fear? If your answer is calm, confidence is forming. If your answer is anxiety, reinforce structure. Confidence is engineered. Not wished into existence. The household ripple effect. When financial confidence rises, arguments reduce. Future planning improves. Children observe calmness around money. Stress patterns change. Confidence transfers across generations. Michael says. Your stability becomes their security. Security strengthens legacy. The silent threat. Overconfidence. Confidence built on hype collapses. Confidence built on preparation endures. Never mistake short-term gain for mastery. True mastery survives cycles. Cycles test ego. Ego destroys discipline. Discipline builds longevity. The quiet reflection on QR codes and links. If you ever notice a QR code, or encounter a link connected to faith or growth, pause with intention. If you choose to engage, let it represent a thoughtful commitment to structured progress. A reminder of disciplined stewardship. A desire to build wisely for your household. But do not act from pressure. Do not act from countdowns. Do not act from fear of missing out. Confidence grows from systems. Security grows from planning. Protection grows from discipline. The compounding of confidence. When confidence is rooted in preparation, you negotiate better. You invest smarter. You evaluate opportunities clearly. You decline distractions calmly. Clarity protects capital. Capital strengthens confidence. Confidence sharpens clarity. This cycle builds authority. The long-term confidence strategy. Think 10 years ahead. If you continue consistent investing, consistent learning, consistent risk management, consistent review, where will you stand? Confidence comes from trajectory, not immediate outcomes. Michael reminds. Look at direction, not just speed. Direction determines destiny. The emotional maturity stage. You stop comparing. You stop chasing trends. You stop reacting emotionally. You focus on structure, vision, discipline, long-term growth. That is financial maturity. That is unshakable confidence. The quiet authority phase. You may not feel dramatic. That is correct. True confidence is calm. It does not shout. It does not panic. It does not rush. It observes. It evaluates. It acts decisively when alignment is clear. The integration point. You now combine stability, strategy, resilience, expansion, governance, confidence. This creates complete financial architecture. Not hype. Not pressure. Not illusion. Structured strength. Before we move forward, anchor this chapter. Comment this word. Confidence. Comment confidence because disciplined clarity creates unshakable stability. If you are ready for Part 6, Designing Financial Freedom for the Next Generation. Say. Chapter 6 Continue. Part 6, Designing Financial Freedom for the Next Generation. Do not think small here. Because this chapter is not about your lifetime. It is about the lifetimes after you. Archangel Michael speaks with measured authority. What you build today should protect those you may never meet. That is generational thinking. Most people focus on income. Few focus on inheritance structure. Even fewer focus on values transfer. Freedom is not simply leaving money behind. Freedom is leaving systems, discipline, and direction. The generational shift. There are 3 levels of financial progress. Level 1, survival. Level 2, stability. Level 3, continuity. You have moved beyond survival. You have built stability. Now you design continuity. Continuity outlives emotion. Continuity survives cycles. Continuity becomes legacy. The 5 pillars of generational design. To secure the next generation, 5 structures must exist. Pillar 1, education before inheritance. Money given without knowledge dissolves quickly. Teach. Budgeting principles. Compounding logic. Investment basics. Risk awareness. Delayed gratification. Michael reminds. Wisdom multiplies wealth more than capital does. If they understand stewardship, wealth survives. If they do not, it disappears. Pillar 2, asset distribution structure. Avoid concentration. Spread across. Growth investments. Stable income assets. Liquidity reserves. Business or skill-based ventures. Diversification across generations reduces collapse risk. Pillar 3, governance systems. Establish clarity in documentation. Clear beneficiary designations. Updated wills or legal frameworks. Define succession intentions. Confusion destroys wealth faster than volatility. Clarity prevents conflict. Conflict erodes legacy. Pillar 4, value transmission. Teach more than numbers. Teach. Discipline. Integrity. Work ethic. Generosity with wisdom. Responsibility. Money amplifies character. Character determines outcomes. Pillar 5, strategic review ritual. Set annual family financial conversations. Discuss. Goals. Asset growth. Risk management. Future planning. Normalize financial literacy within the household. Silence breeds ignorance. Ignorance weakens continuity. The 25-year legacy blueprint. Project Forward. Year 1 to 5, build literacy foundation. Year 6 to 10, increase diversified asset base. Year 11 to 15, establish income-generating systems. Year 16 to 20, strengthen governance and documentation. Year 21 to 25, optimize structure and mentor successors. This removes urgency. Urgency invites mistakes. Time invites wisdom. The emotional upgrade. Generational thinking changes daily behavior. You spend differently. You invest more consistently. You avoid unnecessary risk. Because decisions now affect future names. Michael declares. Think beyond your own horizon. Short horizons limit impact. Long horizons multiply influence. The defensive protection layer. Prepare the next generation for uncertainty. Teach them how to survive downturns. How to diversify. How to maintain liquidity. How to avoid emotional investing. Resilience must transfer alongside wealth. Wealth without resilience collapses. The calm reflection on QR codes and links. If you encounter a QR code, or see a link in any environment connected to faith or growth, pause intentionally. If you choose to engage, let it represent a thoughtful commitment to your family's future. A symbol of disciplined planning. A reminder to act with wisdom, not pressure. But remember, your household is protected by structure. Your legacy is secured by strategy. No urgency replaces preparation. No countdown replaces governance. The generational confidence test. Ask yourself, if I were gone tomorrow, would my family understand the system? Would they know where assets are? Would they know how to manage them? Would they know the long-term vision? If yes, continuity is forming. If no, begin building clarity immediately. The wealth identity shift. You are no longer thinking about income. You are thinking about impact. Impact beyond one career. Impact beyond one cycle. Impact beyond one lifetime. Michael reminds. True prosperity is measured in continuity. Continuity strengthens families. Families strengthen communities. Communities strengthen generations. The quiet power of discipline. Generational wealth rarely explodes. It compounds slowly. Year after year. Decision after decision. Consistency creates permanence. Permanence builds influence. Influence shapes legacy. The integration moment. You now understand. Confidence. Strategy. Resilience. Expansion. Governance. Continuity. These combined form complete financial architecture. Not hype. Not illusion. Not emotional reaction. Structured generational strength. Anchor this chapter. Comment this word. Legacy. Comment legacy because what you build wisely today becomes freedom for tomorrow. If you are ready for Part 7, Achieving Complete Financial Autonomy. Say. Chapter 7 Continue. Part 7, Achieving Complete Financial Autonomy. Do not mistake this chapter for independence. Independence means you can survive without pressure. Autonomy means no external force controls your direction. Archangel Michael speaks with calm authority. Autonomy is not wealth. It is authority over your decisions. You can have money and still be controlled. Controlled by fear. Controlled by debt. Controlled by reputation. Controlled by lifestyle expectations. Autonomy removes control from outside forces and places it back into your structure. The 3 layers of autonomy. There are levels to this. Layer 1, Income Autonomy. You are not dependent on one source. You have primary income, secondary streams, investment flow, skill-based optional income. If one slows, others remain. This reduces vulnerability. Vulnerability creates anxiety. Autonomy removes anxiety. Layer 2, Decision Autonomy. You are not forced into decisions because of lack. You do not accept poor contracts out of fear. You do not remain in misaligned environments because you need survival. When capital is structured properly, choice expands. Choice is power. Michael declares. True strength is the power to choose wisely. Layer 3, Psychological Autonomy. This is the deepest level. You are not emotionally shaken by volatility. You do not panic when headlines scream. You do not chase hype. You operate from strategy, not reaction. Reaction belongs to instability. Autonomy belongs to structure. The lifestyle control trap. Many reach stability, Then expand lifestyle too quickly. Luxury without foundation creates silent pressure. Pressure erodes autonomy. Freedom shrinks. Michael reminds. Maintain simplicity even in abundance. Simplicity protects flexibility. Flexibility preserves control. The 30-year autonomy framework. Design your life so that expenses are covered by diversified income. Investments grow consistently. Debt remains manageable. Liquidity stays protected. Governance remains active. Over decades, autonomy strengthens naturally. The freedom versus flash illusion. Flash impresses. Freedom stabilizes. Flash seeks validation. Freedom seeks sustainability. Flash drains capital. Freedom multiplies it. Autonomy requires discipline. Discipline requires restraint. Restraint builds permanence. The autonomy checklist. Ask yourself. If income slowed, would I still have options? If opportunity appeared, could I invest without fear? If markets dropped, would I remain calm? If the answer is yes, autonomy is forming. If no, reinforce structure. The generational autonomy layer. True autonomy extends to family. They understand money. They understand discipline. They understand risk. They understand vision. That is inherited power. Michael states. Teach them control, not just possession. Possession without control creates collapse. Control with possession builds legacy. The quiet reflection on QR codes and links. If at any time you encounter a QR code, or a link related to growth or faith, pause. If you choose to engage, let it represent a thoughtful commitment to long-term wisdom. A reminder of disciplined stewardship. A symbol of intentional growth. But never act from urgency. Never act from fear. Never act from countdown pressure. Autonomy is built through preparation. Protection is strengthened through systems. Your household's future is secured by strategy, not seconds. The emotional neutrality phase. When autonomy solidifies, money becomes neutral. It is no longer emotional. It is no longer stressful. It becomes a tool. A tool directed by strategy. Michael reminds. Control creates calm. Calm sharpens thinking. Sharp thinking improves allocation. Improved allocation strengthens autonomy. The authority stage. You now combine confidence, strategy, resilience, expansion, governance, generational continuity, autonomy. This is complete financial architecture. Not hype. Not pressure. Not illusion. Structured authority. The long horizon reality. In 10 years, discipline compounds. In 20 years, structure dominates. In 30 years, legacy stabilizes. In 40 years, autonomy becomes identity. Identity determines permanence. Permanence defines true wealth. The final integration before completion. You no longer chase money. You manage flow. You no longer react to volatility. You anticipate cycles. You no longer depend on luck. You depend on structure. Michael closes this chapter with firm clarity. Authority over your finances begins with authority over your decisions. And decisions guided by discipline create unstoppable continuity. Anchor this phase. Comment this word. Autonomy. Comment autonomy because when no external force controls your direction, you have achieved true financial freedom. If you are ready for Part 8, The Final Wealth Blueprint. Say. Chapter 8 continue. Part 8, The Final Wealth Blueprint. This is not the end. It is the integration. Archangel Michael speaks with steady authority. Wealth is not what you accumulate. It is what you can sustain, govern, and multiply without losing peace. You have walked through foundation. Through discipline. Through resilience. Through expansion. Through generational structure. Through autonomy. Now everything must merge into one clear blueprint. Not scattered ideas. Not emotional motivation. A unified design. The blueprint is not complex. True wealth systems are simple. Not easy. But simple. They follow structure. Structure follows discipline. Discipline follows clarity. Clarity follows vision. And vision follows identity. The 8-layer architecture. Your final wealth blueprint integrates 8 layers. Income stability. Expense control. Strategic investing. Risk protection. Liquidity buffer. Expansion planning. Generational governance. Psychological discipline. If one weakens, reinforce it. If all remain strong, growth becomes inevitable. Income stability. Income must be diversified. One stream is fragile. Multiple aligned streams create strength. Skill-based income. Investment-based income. Ownership-based income. Stability reduces stress. Reduced stress sharpens decisions. Expense control. Lifestyle must follow structure. Not impulse. If income grows but discipline shrinks, autonomy collapses. Wealth without control becomes burden. Control protects peace. Strategic investing. Invest consistently. Review periodically. Adjust intelligently. Do not chase trends. Do not abandon strategy in volatility. Michael reminds. Consistency multiplies what emotion destroys. Risk protection. Every expansion requires protection. Insurance. Diversification. Emergency reserves. Low exposure to unstable debt. Protection preserves continuity. Continuity builds legacy. Liquidity buffer. Liquidity buys time. Time prevents panic. Panic causes poor decisions. Maintain accessible reserves. Reserves create calm. Calm strengthens authority. Expansion planning. Growth must be intentional. Not impulsive. Allocate a controlled percentage toward innovation and opportunity. Never compromise the base to chase upside. Upside without foundation collapses. Generational governance. Your blueprint must outlive you. Document structure. Communicate vision. Teach stewardship. Review annually. Silence weakens legacy. Transparency strengthens it. Psychological discipline. This is the invisible layer. Control emotion. Avoid comparison. Ignore hype cycles. Stay patient. Michael says. Peace is proof of structure. If peace disappears, something needs reinforcement. The final integration test. Ask yourself. Is my income diversified? Are my expenses controlled? Is my investing disciplined? Is my risk contained? Is my liquidity strong? Is my expansion strategic? Is my governance clear? Is my mind stable? If yes, the blueprint is active. If not, refine. The long-term horizon. Think beyond 5 years. Think 20. Think 40. This blueprint is not about quick change. It is about permanent architecture. Architecture built slowly lasts longest. Michael reminds. The strongest structures are built deliberately. The quiet reflection on symbols. If you ever encounter a QR code, or see a link connected to growth or faith, pause with awareness. If you choose to engage, let it represent a conscious commitment to disciplined progress. A reminder to strengthen your blueprint. A symbol of intentional stewardship for your household. But never rely on urgency. Never rely on countdowns. Never rely on emotional pressure. Wealth is protected by structure. Legacy is secured by planning. Peace is preserved by discipline. The calm authority phase. You no longer chase money. You govern it. You no longer react to cycles. You anticipate them. You no longer fear uncertainty. You prepare for it. This is maturity. This is authority. This is sustainable prosperity. The identity shift. You are not someone hoping for wealth. You are someone managing architecture. Architecture creates inevitability. Inevitability creates confidence. Confidence creates continuity. Continuity creates legacy. The final anchor. Before complacency appears. Before distraction weakens structure. Before ego disrupts discipline. Comment this word. Blueprint. Comment blueprint because true wealth is not luck, it is designed. This completes the journey. Now the responsibility is yours. Build slowly. Protect intentionally. Expand wisely. Govern patiently. And let structure do what hype never can.